Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir began in 2015 and ended its first era in 2023. It tells the story of two high school kids, Marinette and Adrian, who are basically in love with one another, but they are both secretly superheroes known as Ladybug and Cat Noir, who try to defend Paris from evil monsters led by the main villain called Hawkmoth. So about nearly 2 years ago, oh my god, I can't believe it's been that long, I reviewed the Netflix movie of Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir back in 2023. And much like that review, the review for the TV show is also been requested by Mark Galloway, aka LegoFan506. Link to him will be in the description. When I reviewed the movie back in 2023, I really liked it and I had tons of fun with it, and it made me really curious to check out the TV show. Mark had been telling me a few things about the TV show, and naturally I got pretty curious and interested to see it for myself. I started the show around late November and only finished it the other day. And I'm happy to say I think the Miraculous TV show is pretty entertaining. The storyline, though, is definitely not the strongest aspect of the show. I will definitely say that. The storyline is quite simple, quite basic, and the direction in a lot of episodes can be very standard, very paper basic, and sometimes a lot of episodes are very, very predictable, and the execution on some episodes doesn't exactly help. What I do like, though, is that it tries to take in a lot of plot elements from the Spider-Man franchise and the Power Rangers franchise and many other superhero franchises, and it mixes in all these different plot points and actually does mash them really well together. The storyline can definitely be a lot of fun, and I think when they introduce more characters that become superheroes with the Miraculouses, the show definitely gets much more interesting and much more exciting. It's just, for the most part, the storyline, while it definitely has its moments and its merit, it's just, for the most part, the storyline is quite simple and quite basic. There is definitely good moments, but the storyline is just not the strongest aspect of the show. It's a decent enough storyline, just very simple. What I do appreciate about the show is that there's actually multiple specials, and they actually tie into the show very nicely. The Christmas special is very entertaining, the Shanghai special is a ton of fun, it actually gave me massive Kung Fu Panda vibes, the New York special was very entertaining and a lot of fun to watch, the Paris special would have to be my favourite. That was really good, and the alternate versions of the characters was a really cool idea. The London special was good enough, but to me it felt like nothing really happened for the most part, and that kind of made it a bit boring in a few areas. I don't have that much to say about the specials other than, for the most part, they're very entertaining, but I like how they tie into the show very nicely. I dare say if you do end up watching the entire show with all 5 seasons and all the specials, it does tie in very nicely together. I do feel this show is a little bit too long. There is a ton of filler episodes, especially in the earlier seasons. And while they're not all bad, it's just some of them feel very pointless to watch, I feel. The animation of the show is a bit of a mixed bag. It's a little bit cheap looking, I feel. The locations are a mixed bag. Some look nice, and some just look, well, basic. Same goes for the character designs. Some look really nice, some look really unique and creative, but then others just look quite weak and quite poorly designed. A lot of the character designs just have that simplistic look to them, I feel. But I do think the colour grading, the lighting and the action is actually pretty good, and there's actually some very creative action scenes. Plus the suit designs on the different superheroes actually very unique, and they all stand out from one another, which is really cool. The visuals are definitely a mixed bag. They're a bit cheap looking, but they're not the worst thing I've ever seen. They're good enough for a TV show. The voice acting for the show is also pretty good. The voice performance for Hawkmoth is absolutely fantastic. You can tell the guy is just having an absolute blast playing the character. Though this might be just me, but I kind of noticed that in the first season especially, that some of the lip syncing was out of sync. This could be just me, but I kind of noticed that while watching the first season. As for the characters, this is definitely where the show really shines. I definitely believe the characters are the show's strongest aspect. Marinette is a pretty good protagonist with an enjoyable character arc, and it's nice to see how she tries to balance being Ladybug while also trying to have a normal life. Same goes to Adrian, who's got a very enjoyable character arc too. I feel him and Marinette definitely parallel one another, as they're both trying to have a secret identity while also trying to live a normal life. They both have very good chemistry too, and they bounce off each other very nicely. Marinette's friend Alia is pretty good too. I like her chemistry with the other characters, and I like how she later on joins the team as well. There's Chloe, who I honestly believe is the worst character in the show. I'm sorry, but I just find her very annoying. There are times where, yes, she is a little bit interesting when she gets turned evil, but for the most part, she is just so annoying, and at times, she is just ridiculous. ridiculous and so dumb. I get what they're going for with her character, I do, but for me, she's just easily the worst character in the entire show. Adrian's dad, Gabriel, is pretty good too. He does start off quite cliche and a bit bland in the beginning with being so overprotective over Adrian, but as the show goes along, he gets much more interesting and even his dynamic with his son becomes much more interesting as well. I also quite like his assistant, Natalie, who's very interesting too, and I really like her interactions with both Gabriel and Adrian too. Then the best character in the show for me is hands down the main villain, Hawkmoth. This guy is so much fun. In the beginning, he does start off quite simple, but I have to say, as the show goes along, not only does his character arc get much more interesting, he just becomes tons of fun to watch, and he can be incredibly entertaining. I think a lot of it comes down to his voice performance, but damn, this guy is just so much fun to watch, and his dynamic with Ladybug and Cat Noir gets much more interesting too.
There's also some other good characters like Marinette's parents, who I don't find to be as interesting as Adrian's dad, but they're still good enough, but I feel I would like them to play a bigger role. I wish they were more involved with the plot. They are involved, but I would like more involvement with them. And you've got other characters such as the high school kids, the teachers, the mayor, all of which are good. Some characters could definitely use a little bit more development and maybe we could use a bit more time with them. But for the most part, the show's characters are actually very solid in my book. The show's music is actually quite good. It actually fits the tone of the show, and while some of it is a little bit repetitive, but I have to say, for the most part, the music is actually very catchy. So despite its flaws, I'm happy to say that Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir is a very entertaining show to watch.
Overall, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir is a fun show. The storyline is quite simple and the animation, it's a bit cheap looking, but it's got fun characters, fun action, and some pretty good music. I'm very glad that I finally got around to watching it, as I'm happy to say I was very entertained. I'm going to give Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir an 8 out of 10.
I want to give a huge special thank you to Mark Galloway, aka LegoFan506, for requesting this review and for recommending me to check out the TV show and the movie, as I have to say, I had a lot of fun with both. And thanks very much, man. It was an absolute pleasure. Before doing this review, I actually did rewatch the 2023 movie to decide which one I liked more, the show or the movie. And personally, this is just from a biased perspective, I actually think I prefer the movie. I just had more fun with the movie, and I actually had more fun with Hawkmoth. I'm not gonna lie, even his musical number is actually really fun and catchy to watch and listen to. Now, I definitely believe from a non-biased perspective that objectively the show is better as there's just much more depth and storytelling to it. But I just had more fun with the movie. I just got more entertainment out of it. And I am very curious to see the sequel that they plan on doing for the movie, which is said to come out around 2027, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it could be good. I believe the 6th season of the show is about to begin, and I believe the 6th season is meant to be the start of a new era. They've even got a new animation style, a new villain. It's going to tell a new story, and I'll probably review the 2nd era when the 2nd era comes to a conclusion. I'm not sure yet, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I am intrigued to see the future of the franchise, and it is going to be interesting to see where it goes. Stay tuned for my next review, which is going to be on Arcane League of Legends Season 2. Stay tuned for that. And until then, everyone, special thank you to Mark Galloway once again for requesting this review. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, guys. See you for the next video. And until then, skadoosh, everyone.